Emma Stone and Jesse Plemons' game of mental chess comes to a shocking end in Bugonia, and one of the team's figures thinks Plemons' character was in the right. The remake of Jang Junhwan's Save the Green Planet revolves around Plemons' Teddy Gatz and his cousin Don as they kidnap powerful CEO, Stone's Michelle Fuller, in the hopes of exposing her as the leader of an alien race intent on destroying Earth. Across its 118-minute runtime, the film largely leads viewers to believe that Teddy is mentally unstable and a fanaticist in his conspiratorial beliefs, indicating it stemming from his mother becoming comatose after being a test subject for Michelle's pharmaceutical company, as well as being sexually abused by a local police officer. However, Bugonia's ending pulls the rug out from everyone when it's revealed Michelle is indeed an alien, viewing humanity as an experiment, and kills everyone. Ahead of the movie's release, Joe Deckelmeyer interviewed Luca Guadagnino, Will Tracy, Emma Stone, and Jesse Plemons for Screen Rant to discuss Bugonia. The writer, known for his prior work on The Menu and Succession, explained that one of his biggest goals with the film was to get people in a room from opposite ends of an extreme cultural divide and just examine the emotional biases they hold in looking at each other. This subsequently led to him revealing that he largely believes Teddy was right by Bugonia's ending. In his approach to writing the character, he felt that, I don't really judge very harshly someone who has gone through the life experiences Teddy has, particularly given the conclusions he reaches for his theories are because he's not really been given a better story to believe in. Citing that he believes many of Teddy's ideas are correct, Tracy further shared that his hope in crafting the character and his place in the film's story was to not focus so much on his madness, but instead rather the clarity underlying his mad decision-making. Plemons similarly felt that the best way to portray his Bugonia character was to think about how Teddy views himself and the story that he's telling himself. Acknowledging that much of his core personality is the many theories and convictions that he believes, the Oscar nominee found that Teddy is the hero of humanity in his character's mind, and is the protector of the little things. Luca Guadagnino had the perfect troupe of new and familiar faces going into Bugonia. Screen Rant, Yorgos, you've talked about wanting to challenge what certain people think about. How does Bugonia push that idea even further in a world where everyone seems convinced that what they're doing is right? Yorgos Lanthimos, I think it's as simple as finding someone you get along with and, of course, appreciate greatly as a talent. You trust them and build on the relationship afterward, so it allows you to not be afraid to go to places that you might not have gone if it was someone that you didn't know so well or couldn't rely on. They are both incredible actors, and they have great chemistry. With Jesse, it was almost like making 3 films back-to-back when we made Kinds of Kindness. It was 3 different stories, and he had to play 3 different characters, so it felt like there was already a troupe created. I work a lot with a lot of the same people in terms of the crew as well, but there's always some new people, like with Aidan Delbis, who plays the role of Don. And this was my first time working with Will, so it changes the dynamic a little bit and pushes us forward. But also, there are relationships that are strong and evolve, and they are also a very important part of the process. Emma Stone, it was the first time that I had ever thought about approaching a character where I thought a good deal about the audience in general. Because you try not to think too much about how people are going to react to something, but more than that, I wondered what they would think if they saw it a second time. That was really an interesting new world for me to think about. Okay, if someone were to be watching this for a second time, would this all make sense? And then I would adjust. So, I was going very outside in a new way, which I guess makes sense for the character who is very outside in, Jesse Plemons. I think there are really 4 main characters in this movie, 5, if you want to include Mom, who pops in and out. But Aidan is just such an interesting person, and I think what makes his performance so interesting is his perspective, and the fact that he has done some plays in his high school theater and loves horror movies. In a lot of ways, it made a lot of sense for him to kind of enter into this world. He's just a really self-assured, curious person, and I think he added something to this movie that completely elevates it. Yeah, he did bring this very alive energy to all these scenes, and he improvised a couple of moments that were really exciting.